time was such an important thing that we found to responding to a lead. It's like anything. Like if you want to go buy something, if all of a sudden you have to schedule a call 2 weeks from now, you're probably going to lose your momentum depending on if you wanted to buy that particular thing that much. And so our thing was we needed a response within 5 minutes. So our inbound reps had more hours that they were covering. And during this time, they're also doing chat. And then our outbound reps basically would have to do 1 chat shift per week or maybe 2 chat shifts per week. And frankly, like the inbound reps got all the credit for any of the opportunities created from inbound. But what I told the outbound reps is this is just part of being on a team, right? And I think when you're on a team, like there's just those incentive structures. And if there was any inbound rep that just wasn't pulling their weight, which caused resentment on some of the outbound reps, like we would fire that person and move on. And so, yeah, I don't think this needs to be complicated. You don't need like a lot of incentives, but you want to put the incentives in the right place. So where we did put incentives, for example, is one of the biggest mistakes marketing and sales teams do is they allow their reps to write the emails. And what I mean by that is like you're taking a 22-year-old kid oftentimes, smart, hungry, hardworking, amazing, and you're then saying, please go write a bunch of emails in context to a 45-year-old VP or C-level or director at a company. That's dumb. Yeah. Like that is absolutely idiotic. So what we did is we basically ran it like a code base. We were like, here is the core sequences for this particular vertical or this particular persona that we were targeting, and you had to follow the core. Now, if you thought you could beat the core messaging, we had this thing called the Beat the Vic system, because Vic was the growth marketer who was kind of in charge of this, where basically you could branch off that email, change the subject line, change the email, add the email, whatever you wanted to do, run it for 2 weeks in like a very controlled test. And if it beat the Vic, you got a spiff. Anyway, I think it shifted from a couple $100 to $500 to $1,000, depending on what we were trying to do. And then we merged it so that everyone else took advantage of it. In the early days, even if you were ramping, like even if you're in your first 6 months, every reply you got, even if it was a no, needed to go into a group channel or into the manager's channel and basically be like, I got this reply. Here's the response that I want to do. What do you think? And then they would give feedback and get the response out really, really quickly. Because again, these leads are so precious. And if you just let, again, 22-year-olds who just don't have a lot of experience left yet go, you're just missing out on all these different margins and you're missing out on all this different stuff. And then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, maybe it's the fact that we don't have these features. Maybe it's the fact that we don't have this. It's like, no, you have demand. You're just like letting it go by.
Right.